falling out my mouth. That's what my grandmother used to do to me.
I'm a hot one. Soy caliente. Are you a hot one?
Welcome to Season 3 of Hot Ones, Caribbean Edition. Hailing from the United States Virgin Islands, I am your hostess, Gabrielle Carrard. And joining me today is three-time U.S. Virgin Islands Senator Donna Frett-Gregory. The immediate former president of the USVI Senate, Donna Frett-Gregory is the current chair on the Committee of Budget, Appropriations, and Finance. She's also the vice chair on the Committee of Education and Workforce Development. Her platform is for an inclusive Virgin Islands, where a wholesome life is accessible to all. Senator, Madam Chair, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm not certain what I've gotten myself into today, but I am up to the challenge. I don't think that the VI politics or this pepper hair is as hot as the VI politics, so I'm ready for the road.
I agree completely. Okay, so we can jump right in and get this show on the road.
Okay.
And we're gonna hit up our first sauce. So this is gonna be from Pirate Gang, and it's called Ghost Ship.
Okay.
This one is gonna be made from ghost peppers, and I find that it has a lot of flavor and a little bit of spice. So it's the perfect one to just kind of set the road right. Okay? So we can take some sauce and we can put it on our first wing, a nice heaping serving for the people them.
A nice heaping serving.
That don't look like a heaping serving to me, Senator.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Right.
So I think this one is nice and mild. I don't think the bottle does it justice because it's really mild and the bottle seems a little more intense. I like that one. Nice, mild, and
It is good. It got a little tang to it.
nice and tangy.
Okay, so let me get to the first question.
Okay.
Your resume is quite extensive, from accounting to finance, operations, government business and administration. You've laid a lot of the groundwork for the Departments of Justice, Education, and Fiscal and Administrative Services. As a young professional, were you planning moves that would strategize a political career? Or, as the young people would say, you was chasing paper?
Well, I'm not going to say I was planning moves for a political career. But as I look around the Virgin Islands, I recognize that individuals like myself have to step up. We have to step up to serve our people. And I saw things here happening in the territory that I knew that I can make a difference with. And I decided to give it a shot. Actually, I ran for the Board of Education in 1994, and I won.
Oh.
So I served on the 13th Board of Education many years ago. It seems like forever ago. So that started my political career. And then I got back into my finance work. I worked at the Department of Education, Department of Justice, and I actually ended up my government career ended in the Virgin Islands Port Authority. I was a chief financial officer. And I said, you know what? I've done this work for many years, and it's time for me to step up for my people. And I did just that. And I have no regrets that I did it.
I love that, and I completely agree. So we're gonna head into our second sauce.
Okay.
So this one is called Anji's. It includes things like hot pepper, vinegar, garlic, onions. So it's a beautiful melody of herbs, but also you get a little spice to it.
All right.
I'm watching you over here to see what we have going on with how much sauce we put in down.
I'm playing the game fair.
Okay. You ready? It's herby. It's nice.
Herby. Lots of flavor. This one good for boiled fish.
Oh my gosh.
This one good for boiled fish.
Correct. I said that,
Yes, it's very good. It makes me want to take another bite.
It's really delightful. Okay, so let me get into the question. Senator, you've had your hands in many pots across the government, including creating legislation around public utilities, infrastructural development, and community investment. Your reach is broad. How successful has your proposals been in making it into law? And once the law has been passed, how involved are you in the implementation and enforcement of those laws?
Very involved. So I hear you. So it means that you've been following my career. You've been following my work. So yes. So one of the legislation I'm very proud of is the agriculture plan. And I actually developed that plan during COVID. I sat at my kitchen table and recognized that, we have a food sovereignty issue here in the Virgin Islands. And I worked with a young lady, a millennial like yourself, and we drafted the legislation. It was a heavy lift. And I'm not afraid to take heavy lifts. I believe that in order to get things done, you have to do heavy lifting. I worked with my colleagues because what matters as a legislator is that you work and collaborate with your colleagues. That's a major part of the work. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything done. So you can't have an I mentality as you do this work. We're not always going to agree. And we all want the same things. Sometimes we, get to it at, a different route. So we worked on that particular legislation and it passed. And we included and involved the farmers in the territory, the University of the Virgin Islands, the Department of Agriculture, and other stakeholders within the territory. And I have stayed on top of that legislation. The legislation required funding because a lot of times what we do, and I like the question that you asked, so how do you see it to the end? A lot of times you folks move legislation that's sort of unfunded. And I saw it to the end. Well, not necessarily to the end yet, because it's never to the end, because it's a whole lot of work around it. But what I did is I looked at it and decided that we needed to fund it. We need to fund sections of it. And I made a commitment that I will work with my colleagues to ensure that we appropriate the necessary dollars to fund portions of it. So I'm well on my way doing that. I work with the chief executive of the territory to ensure that they're on board. I also work with agriculture, the Department of the University of the Virgin Islands, as well as the farmers to ensure that, that particular legislation moves. I also did some work on K3. K3 is my passion, I'll tell you, because I firmly believe that a lot of the challenges that we're seeing here in the Virgin Islands, if we don't address the issues of our children, of our babies from a young age, we're not going to see the results, and we're seeing the things that's happening here. And when I became a senator in 2019, before I became a senator, we worked on a piece of legislation that proposed that all public elementary schools establish a pre-kindergarten class. And when I became a senator, there was one in St. Croix. There were 2 pre-kindergarten classes in St. Croix and 0 in the St. Thomas St. John district. And I pounded the pavement to ensure that we were able to get more in St. Croix, of course, and to begin to seek those pre-kindergarten classes in St. Thomas. And today I'm proud to say that many of our elementary schools have pre-kindergarten classes because we have to identify the cognitive issues that our babies are experiencing from an early age so we can assist them and work with them so they could be better students and, of course, become better, productive citizens of the Virgin Islands and the world, of course.
For sure.
So that's the work that I do.
This edition of Hot Ones Caribbean is brought to you by the U.S. Virgin Islands.
All right, Senator, so we're moving into the third sauce. This sauce is David's Bin Hair hot sauce. So this particular sauce has a lot of fruity notes, and he does a really great job to marry the fruity nature of the sauce with the spicy component that, of course, you're looking for if you're getting a hot sauce. So I'm interested to know what you think about this one when you taste it.
Okay. Should I be scared?
I mean,
Let's see.
I don't think so, man. We get things to be scared about, but this ain't one of them.
Okay. Okay. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. So this is very different from the other two.
It's a unique flavor.
So this flavor will creep up on you. So it starts out sweet, and then it comes hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay, so let me roll into the question. Among other issues that you're passionate about, matters of education and access to essential resources for citizens throughout our territory is one of those important things. You envision a Virgin Islands for all that's inclusive and just. Tell us what I mean.
So, I recognize that in the Virgin Islands, I don't want to use the word class systems because that's not really what it is. But we have individuals in the territory who feel that they are not getting the services that they need. They're not being looked out for by the leadership, by the powers that be. I believe that if you consider yourself a civil servant, then that's what you should do. Serve the people. So as we look at the various agencies that's responsible for social services, education-related matters, health-related matters, I believe that every day that you put your foot on the ground and you go to that facility that you work, you should do your best. You should bring it every day. And you do that by working with other people. So you have to inspire and you invite them to hear about what their challenges are. And sometimes you have to be honest. When I say that, what I mean is there are times when folks think they have an issue, meaning because we have to take time out to have discussions about what the challenges are and why you're feeling the way you're feeling. So a Virgin Islands for all for me really means that we look at each other individually, and then we also look at each other collectively, because we have to figure out how to serve not some of the people or fractions of the people, but all of the people. And it's very, very important to meet people where they're at.
So we're gonna roll into sauce number 4. This sauce is called Miss Anna's. And I'm a lover of history, and I fell in love with this sauce by its story. It was created 110 years ago, the recipe itself, in St. Lucia. And then here in St. Croix, the recipe was perfected.
Okay.
So we're gonna take a little bit, we're gonna put it, well, I won't say a little bit. We're gonna take a lot, and we're gonna put it on our wings, and we're gonna see what Miss Anna's saying.
Okay, I have to look to see where your lot is.
Okay. So I start from the bottom and I work it up like a zipper.
Okay.
Like you're zipping up a dress.
Okay. I'm getting more courage here.
Okay.
More
I like
courage.
that. You know, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
What did I say? Do it and done.
Yeah, do it and done. Okay, use a Ahsoka Empress. I love that.
Woo. Yes, sir.
Okay.
She gets some heat. She got some nice flavor.
What's her name? Anna?
Miss Anna.
Nice flavor. She make your stew mutton and your oxtail taste really good.
Not goat water.
Absolutely, I
Lace
agree.
it up with Miss Anna's. Okay, so the political landscape is often marked with a lot of blurred lines. Party and personal agendas tend to get in the way of public progress, and it oftentimes leaves citizens with the shorter end of the stick. How do you navigate these agendas in a political world rife with rugadu?
Rife with a rugadu.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, there's lots of behind the scenes rugadu.
I believe you.
But what matters to me is when we get on that floor to have the discussion with the people, that we leave our personal agendas behind I believe that if we are working together, you have something to offer, I have something to offer. And while I may have, we see things differently. And I think I said it earlier, that many times we want the same things. We just go about it very differently. So again, we have to meet people where they're at. And when I say people, I'm talking about my colleagues. I'm talking about those that I work with, and also those that are in heads of government agencies. So in order to get past the Rugadu, you got to listen more, collaborate more, and really understand what the issues are. Because sometimes we want what we want, but we really don't focus on really why we want what we want and how what we want will impact the Virgin Islands as a whole. And you asked it earlier about, for me, I always look at the future. So how does this impact us in the future? And you have to set personalities aside, because you're not going to get along with everyone. But what you have to focus on is, so why am I here again? I always remind myself, why am I here? I'm not here. Did I say when you get released, if you commit a crime, and my own recognizance? I am here because the people of the Virgin Islands, particularly the St. Thomas, St. John district, said they want me to serve as their senator. I put myself up and they said yes to me. So I always harken back to the fact that I have to remind myself that this is not about me. This is about the people of the Virgin Islands. This is about the future of the Virgin Islands. So I have to take myself and my personal feelings out of it. You call it, you have to suck it up.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, many times I have to suck it up and really work to get a result. And what matters is the end result. And what matters is, you may see a bill for that matter that's moving forward, but that bill it may be a good bill, but it needs work. So I'm not one that would stay on the sidelines and say, well, ain't my bill, so I'm not going to deal with it. I always step in and assist. Because at the end of the day, that bill is not about that individual who proffered the bill. Because if that bill passes, then it affects all of us. So I practice really putting those agendas on the side and working with people. I mean, like I said earlier, you don't always get along with everyone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yes.
The agenda should be for the community. Correct. Okay.
You notice I talk a little long because
I
want to make sure that
stretch out the time.
yeah, because I want to make sure that my mouth cool off.
So let me speed it up through.
This edition of Hot Ones Caribbean is brought to you by VIA.
Are you a hot one?
This edition of Hot Ones Caribbean is brought to you by My Brother's Workshop, tools that build hope.
Okay,
All right.
so we're gonna move on to Alvin's. You should be quite familiar with Alvin's, as this is a very popular sauce in the Virgin Islands. You don't get a heat until the back end, so it's a little bit of a creeper sauce, like what we had experienced with David's. So you get the flavor in the front end, and you're like, oh wow, the flavor good, not too much spice, and then the spice comes after, and it's made from Scotch bonnet. And I know you're familiar with Scotch bonnet.
Absolutely, and I'm familiar with Alvin's. This is one of them sweetened goat mouth kind of hot pepper.
It's a little thick. Okay. It tastes like one of them old-timey pepper bottles.
This is a real. I know it wasn't made in the Virgin Islands, but it tastes like a Virgin Islands pepper bottle.
It does.
And you're right. The kick comes at the end, but it's a real sweet hot pepper.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and it have that herby taste to it. So we see some hot peppers that have the more fruity sweet take, And this is definitely more herbal, even a little savory, I'd say.
It's savory. Absolutely. Savory.
Okay.
You could put this on everything.
You could.
Yes.
You could. Steak, chicken, soup. Okay. So let's get into the next question. All the way back to Brafu, the woman who led the first successful slave rebellion in the Western Hemisphere, the history of the United States Virgin Islands is rich with female heroes who were instrumental in shaping strong communities, almost by hand and against all odds. Are there any women in Virgin Islands history you feel particularly inspired by or see yourself in?
Well, I'll tell you. That's interesting. That's an interesting question. So I had the opportunity as a young woman to work for Lorraine Berry.
Oh,
Yes, I did.
family.
I worked, she's your family. I worked for
sure
Lorraine,
is.
and Lorraine was a woman about business. I always say that I'm a very blessed Virgin Islander because I've had the opportunity to work with some very strong men and women. But in particular, I recall when I worked with Senator Lorraine Berry, I worked in the post-audit division of the legislature of the Virgin Islands. And at that time, I didn't have any idea that I would be a senator. And Lorraine was about her business. She walked softly, but she walked with a big stick. And there was a lot of respect for her. And to this day, I still admire her. I also had the opportunity to work with Ruby Rose and in the Senate for a very short stint. And she was a woman that was well admired. And I was a very young woman, and you would be in awe of her because Ruby basically said whatever came to her mind. But it was always, always about what benefited the people. If she had other intentions, you would never know, because she stayed very focused on the business of the people of the Virgin Islands. And I think that's why I'm inspired by these people. They inspire me to be a better leader, to be a good leader, and to be very focused on why I am here as a senator. So those women, and of course my mother. I can't leave my mom out because my mother is a very humble woman, but she pushed me very hard. Very unassuming. But I'll tell you, if my mother was born in 1932, she's 91 years old. But I always say that if my mother was born in my generation, she would have been a doctor, a lawyer, a governor, a big leader, because she's just that smart of a woman and just that knowledgeable of a woman. So those are the three women that I most definitely admire. Virgin Islands women that I admire. And of course, the notorious RBG. Supreme Court Justice. A lady that walked soft, but walked with a big stick. And all little girls, all women throughout the world, and the Virgin Islands should be no exception, we should look at her story. I've looked at her story. Didn't say much, but when she spoke, everyone listened.
Before we move on, because
Yes.
I want you to explain the significance of Ruby Rose.
Okay, well, the significance of her is she stood for what she believed in, and she also didn't have an issue standing on issues alone. And there are times as leaders, you have to stand on issues alone. For girls, you got to put on your big panties. I'm just going to keep it real. You got to put on your big panties, and you have to, and that's what she did.
Yeah.
She definitely did that. And, you have to show up every day and do your best. And there are days when you're not up to it, but you still have to show up. You still have to show up because you made that commitment to show up. And that's one of the things that she did. So that's what about her for me.
So I wanted to talk specifically about Ruby Rose because to my understanding, she's the first female senator, no?
She was the first female, I think she served as president.
President.
That's what it was.
So I wanted to draw that that parallel because you went on, you mentioned her as a source of inspiration. You went on to not only become a senator, but you were voted in as Senate president.
Yes.
And I find it to be very interesting, like sometimes we are walking a road that we think is our road. We're making decisions and we don't know who's looking behind us.
Absolutely.
And seeing how we are paving the way. And so that in and of itself paved the way for you to stand in that position. And, you know, I just find that parallel to be very inspirational, especially as a young woman, a young Virgin Islands woman. It helps to see strong female leaders step into those roles, and I am deeply grateful to even hearing this because it speaks to that. It speaks to the passing of the torch from greatness to greatness.
Right.
So
And she actually was the first, and then former Senator Berry, she was the second, and I'm the third woman Senate president
Whoop, whoop.
in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I say to young girls is, you too can become not only a senator but a Senate president. And, you know, being a Senate president is not an easy thing. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of different types of energies. You got your brothers coming at you. You got your sisters coming at you. But fairness is what matters. You know, you have to serve with fairness. And with fairness, people will respect you.
For sure.
And decisiveness. You have to be decisive. And you also have to give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Yes.
I gotcha. Okay. So you're saying don't hang the balance.
Right.
You need to make decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're about to make some decisions now.
Woo.
So let's move on to our sixth sauce. And this sauce is incredibly special as it is the House of Tempo sauce. This particular sauce has a bold flavor. And because we are in a tempo production, I am encouraging you to pour extra pepper on your wing for the culture.
All right, buddy. You didn't tell me how much degrees hotter it was than the last one.
Well,
I'm gonna find out. I think that's what this is about, for me to
I don't like
find
to
out.
give precursors. I like for
Okay.
us to explore this together.
Okay.
She got a good little flavor.
By the way, the chicken is delicious.
Yeah, man, the chicken amazing. She seasoned proper. It was made by the fabulous Seaside Deli, who also made us the Johnny Cake. So as things go on and the heat starts to build, the Johnny Cake them does definitely help, and it has a beautiful flavor. From the first time you ran in a senatorial election to now, you've dominated the polls, coming out with a record high vote counts in what has been a historically male-dominated seat. What's your secret tempo sauce?
My secret tempo sauce is digging my heels in and getting the work done. And being very deliberate about understanding the needs of the people and remaining focused on the issues that matter. And issues like education, issues like healthcare, issues like our infrastructure, issues like how do we ensure that we are able to secure enough funding for our University of the Virgin Islands. Those things matter. I never thought, let me just say, that I would be that person that would be a front runner in an election.
Really?
No, I never thought that because I'm a very direct person. And sometimes when you're direct, you get a lot of different types of energy.
Yeah.
But what people appreciate is the fact that I'm honest about it. And I always try to corral my colleagues into making sure that we're doing the right thing. I mean, you're not going to capture everybody,
That's true.
but preparation is key. I prepare. And so I don't run for office, get elected, and just do the bare minimum. And sometimes I say to myself, and you can't watch what other people are doing either. It's not anything to take lightly. So I consider, when I make decisions, I consider how they would feel. They're not always going to agree. But what I do believe is if they don't always agree, if they don't agree on a particular issue, if you will, what matters is see it to the end. So when they see the fruits of the labor then they'll say, okay, now I understand why this had to be done this way.
So you're a lady of strategy.
I'm a strategist.
So tell me what a strategy is for the last 4 sauces.
I good, you know.
Okay.
I good. I
We do any research
I
before
see
we
it.
come?
I didn't do any research about the
Okay.
hot sauce then because, like I tell you, I didn't know what I would get myself into. But I'll tell you that the House of Tempo hot sauce make me eat the Johnny cake. So I know it's about to get hotter.
It sure is.
It's about to get hot up in here.
It sure is. And thank God for the House of Temple because we got to taste the Johnny cake.
But guess what? I don't ever run away from a challenge.
Okay.
So I'm always up to, like I said it earlier, I don't run away from the challenge. So, you know, sometimes you got to take one for the team.
We got 4 more
Yeah,
sauces
yes.
left. And I believe we're going to make it through all 10 sauces by the end of this.
Well, we'll see.
I believe
We'll
in
see.
us.
Yes.
And now it's time for the Hot Kitchen. Ask a Chef with Chef Julius Jackson.
What's up, my people? Welcome back to another rendition of Ask a Chef. I'm your boy, Chef Julius Jackson, and today we're making one of my favorite dishes in the world to eat, and that is a seafood kalaloo. I'm drooling, think about it right now. All right, so, y'all ready? I'm ready. So right here below me, I have some water boiling with some saltfish, all right? For those of you who don't know what saltfish is, we have saltfish right here. This is what it looks like, just like that. It could be cod, it could be pollock, it could be any kind of white fish that's salted for preserving, right? We used to use this way back in the day to travel and have a lot of good food to eat while we go on long journeys, you know, and also we didn't need a fridge, right? So that's why we have saltfish in the Caribbean. So I have that boiling with some water here. This is how you start the base of your soup, okay? The fish is gonna season the water as well as flavor the water, both. 2 things one time. All right, so that's boiling, that's going. I get some okra. Okra. Some people say okra. In the South, they say okra. In the South. But in the Caribbean, we say okra. I'm gonna throw that right in just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. Simple and easy. I get some spinach, right? Throw some spinach in there, just like that. Just so. Boom. I'm gonna let that boil. I want my okra to cook for about 10 minutes. I want the okra to get nice and soft, as well as, you know, you're going to let its, what do you call it? What you call the little, you know, the little jelly, the okra jelly? What do you call that? I don't know what we call that. What you call that? What you call that where you from? I don't know. But that little jelly that comes out the okra, it's going to get all mixed up and make our soup nice and thick, and then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. All right, so now my okra and my spinach and my saltfish is all coming to a boil. This is what we want. This is the area that we want. I'm gonna add a little touch of seasoning, just a little splash, a little mix of my secret seasoning. You cannot know what's in there, so don't ask. So we're gonna put that right in there, get that nice and married together. Now I'm gonna add some onions and some garlic, as well as some thyme. I have some fresh thyme in here as well. Throw that right in there, just so, just like that. And here is our magical seafood. We also have our saltfish in there already, right? That's gonna add that fishy seafood flavor. But I also have some lump crab meat. I have some snapper, some mahi. I'm throwing some mahi in there. I have some shrimp as well. And we're gonna throw that all right in our kalaloo. Just put that in there. That's seasoned with a little seasoning as well as some olive oil as well. So that's all right in there. We're gonna just give it a little mix around, a little mixaroo, just like that. And we're gonna let that boil for about 30 to 20 minutes. And all that's just gonna marry together and become a beautiful, beautiful pot of kalaloo. But I'm gonna bring a little heat to the kitchen. Of course, you know we gotta do that. House of Temple hot sauce. I'm gonna add just a little dab. This is gonna be a beautiful mixture of flavor and heat that's gonna add to our kalaloo. Just a little dab, just like so. You gotta get yours one, all right? Get you one. Mix that in, just like that. All right, we're gonna let it boil for about 30 to 20 minutes, and then we're gonna have a beautiful pot of kalaloo. All right, guys, so now that my soup has been going for about 10 minutes, now I'm gonna add a little piece of Scotch bonnet, just a little piece, de-seeded, no seeds, all right? No seeds in the middle. And And I'm gonna rest that just right on top, just like that. I don't want to mix it, I don't want to crush it. I just want to put it right on top of the soup, and we're gonna let that finish for about 10 to 15 more minutes, all right? All right, so now my Kalaloo has been boiling for about 20, 25 minutes. I'm gonna remove my Scotch bonnet real quick. Let me find that bad boy, because he is a bad boy. All right, I got him. Put him here on the side. Turn my heat off. I could smell that seafood just ready to be in my belly. It's beautiful, beautiful smell. Now I got my nice bowl of Kalaloo. Grab that right here. And look at all that beautiful mixture, seafood, okra, spinach. Just a beautiful, beautiful mixture. I could eat this any day of the week. It could be steaming hot, bubbling hot. I could eat this any day, anytime. It's great, it's low carb, right? Really good for staying healthy. It's got so many nutrients in here, so many beautiful minerals and vitamins in here, protein, everything you need for a beautiful, hearty, lovely, hot, a little bit hot, kind of hot, amazingly hot dish. Beautiful tender piece of snapper. The crab, you can taste all the seafood in here. Get your copy of My Modern Caribbean Kitchen, and you can make this at home as well. This has been another episode of Ask the Chef. You can follow me on all my social media right down there. Ask me some questions. Love y'all. See y'all on the next one, man. Peace.
Bold, fruity, and perfectly hot. The House of Tempo Pepper Sauce. Available at Plaza Extra East and Seaside Market in Delhi. This edition of Hot Ones Caribbean is brought to you by Fly the Whale and The Fred.
Okay, so the next sauce on the roster is Alvin. So this is another Alvin's. This is gonna be the red pepper sauce. This one is going to be slightly different to the yellow in that the pepper hits you first, the flavor comes after, which is nice because it's a beautiful reprieve from the spice that you get in the onset to taste it. Okay? And make sure you put in a good amount. The people are watching.
What was it? She put a sauce on it?
Correct.
What you say? Are you ready? You ready? Let's go.
Okay. What we thinking? What we thinking?
So this one tastes like Scotch bonnet. This is a Scotch bonnet. So this is the one that will bring down that will clear all your sinuses.
Sherbet, and don't touch your eyes.
I won't. This is gonna bring down your sinuses, but it has a nice flavor. It's very flavorful.
Yep.
Nice flavor. Again, this is a good revelation for me. I did not realize that we had all these hot sauces in the Caribbean, if you will. Yeah.
And this is just a small fraction. There's
Nice.
so many.
It's good.
God. And as we get up there in the heat, just keep in mind you get your milk and our nice Department of Tourism cup. Shout out to the United States Virgin Islands Department
Absolutely.
of Tourism. We also have our Via rags, so that way we could wipe off our face, and if we have any tears to cry, we have a place to put them. Okay, so let's get into the question.
Okay.
Hot Ones features a reoccurring segment called Explain That Gram. We've done a deep dive into your social media, and we pulled out a post that requires a little bit more context. This particular segment is brought to you by Via, as well as this phone. And so if you don't have a Via phone, I highly suggest, I absolutely love it. Okay, so this is the picture that we'd love some context on. You look like something sweet in your soul. You look like you're having fun at a carnival festivities. And it would seem to me that you might in fact be a carnival baby.
So, I do have a Via phone because I have two phones. So I do have a Via phone. And I'll tell you this much. So I traveled to Costa Rica the other day.
Okay.
In January, after I was done with my Senate presidency work, I needed to take some Donna time. So I went to Costa Rica and rejuvenated. Because as you do this work, you have to rejuvenate. So that picture was during Carnival. And I love to party. So I am one that I work hard, but I play harder. So that's a Carnival picture. And I guess I was saying to someone something. I'm not sure what I was saying. Probably happy Carnival, have a good time, but I always have a good time. I don't miss St. Croix Crucian Festival. I don't miss St. Thomas Carnival. And I don't miss St. John Festival. So I love Carnival. I look forward to carnivals here in the Virgin Islands. I think we have the best carnivals. Yeah, it's a carnival, baby. I can't do like, there was a time when I was a lot younger. You may think that I'm a little younger than I am, but there was a time when I was a lot younger, so I could strike up a jam band.
Okay.
Yeah, man. You want me to get a little thing?
Oh, yes.
Coming out of the classroom, heading straight to the ballroom, wiggling, 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 wiggling. Walking up in the band, bending over, bending over. Taking all the heat that you can feel. Feeling a breeze when dancing on stage.
Oh,
That's
yes.
Friday. That's Friday when in 1981 or 80, when he was a young boy, when he had just started to sing, he sang that song in Ivana Eudora Kent classroom.
Senator, it
Yes.
sounds like you is a bacchanalist.
I'm a bacchanalist. Yes, I am. Oh, I am. I like to party. I don't party as much because, you know, as you get older, you have to respect your age. You know?
You know, I
Yeah.
think you're only as young as you feel.
Yes.
And so we'd love to see you on the parade route next year.
I'm going to try to come down.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So we're on to the next sauce. Okay, so
Okay.
over here is where things does get a little spicy. But we already said we're gonna handle it, so we don't have no concerns. We can just move right in and get a party going.
Okay.
Okay, this one is called Habanero. It's made in Trinidad. The same company that makes this sauce is actually the same company that makes our House of Tempo sauce. I really appreciate the flavors of this sauce because sometimes I find that our hot sauces could sacrifice flavor for the sake of spice, and I feel like they did a very good job in ensuring that it was both spicy but a beautiful flavor profile. So we're gonna take some and we're gonna put some on our wing and no doubt enjoy it.
All right. Okay.
Okay. We can roll into the question.
That's what I'm going to have.
Tempo is homegrown. Born right here in the Virgin Islands. Our very own Frederick Morton is from Hill Street, St. Croix. You know how much talent we have here? Tempo is about growing and fostering local and regional talent, including this production. What's your view on Tempo's work in this area? And in particular, the government's role in supporting this objective?
You gotta give me some time because my mouth on fire. This girl is on fire.
In more ways than one.
Ooh. Well, you know, I always appreciate the work of young Virgin Islanders, and particularly Virgin Islanders period, but particularly when they come home and do it on the soil.
Yeah.
So I have to definitely say that I definitely appreciate the work that he's doing, you know, that Frederick is doing here in the territory, and the fact that he could be anywhere else. He could be anywhere else doing great things, but he decided to come home to the Virgin Islands and do his due. So I always want to encourage Virgin Islanders who are talented, and we're not short on talent. We are not short on talent. We are all over the world doing great things. To come home and be a part of the process. I know just recently, a few years ago, we passed the STARS Act, the Filmmaking Act. And we have to encourage Virgin Islanders who are into filmmaking to really come home and, you know, do some of that work here in the territory. And I see that we have lots of opportunities to do other great things here with Virgin Islanders who are home. I telling you this thing, Bonin. I'm trying.
I with you. I'm hearing the message, and it's beautiful.
You know, Virgin Islanders who are you see, this one here got me. Yeah, this one. This yeah, this one here was a little hotter than the others. You know, you always want to encourage Virgin Islanders, people from the Caribbean, just overall, to come home and do the work that they're doing here.
For sure.
And definitely, the government should support this type of work. And from a legislative perspective, I will do whatever I can to ensure that this type of work is in fact supported, because it puts our talent on stage. We are on stage as Virgin Islanders. When you look at all of these other Caribbean countries, they don't hold anything back to put their talent on stage. And I believe it's time for us to do it. And the work that, you know, Tempo is doing is, we're gonna be there.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
But we have to really push, and in order for this work to move, it requires a collective support. So we got to put our money where our mouth is on this.
I agree.
So I'm there.
We love to hear
I'm there.
it.
I'm there.
I agree completely.
But I will tell you, this girl is on fire.
With that being said, we're going to move into the 9th sauce. So this one is called Heat Stroke. And I will not lie to you, its name is fitting because it does give the feeling of a heat stroke. However, we already spoke and we know that we are going to be champions at the end of this.
Okay.
We ready?
You setting me up?
No, man. Never. I'm looking over there to make sure they ain't joking the people.
No, man.
Okay.
No, I've done a hefty serving of this.
Okay.
This one need bread.
So while your hair processing, we can get to the question.
This needs jelly cake.
The USVI Department of Tourism dedicates its resources to educating and informing both visitors and locals about the unique experiences that our territory has to offer. What's a fun fact about the Virgin Islands that someone who's not from here that they should know?
That we are uniquely American in the Caribbean. So you don't need a passport to get here. And when you get here, you feel all of the Caribbean flair. That's a fun fact about the Virgin Islands. And another fun fact is the people that say good day, good afternoon, and good night.
So akakaran.
Yes, we do. And that's a fun fact because people are not accustomed to that. So we have a habit where it's just natural for us. You travel to the States, you go in an elevator, and you say good morning. And people are looking at you like, really? But that's what we do. We are very polite. We are wonderful people. And but what matters for us is we are uniquely American in the Caribbean.
And now it's time for Did You Know with Gabrielle Carrard.
Did you know that Magens Bay on the island of St. Thomas, known for its dazzling beauty, also has an incredibly rich history, making a visit to this beach extra special? During the golden age of piracy in the Caribbean, the Virgin Islands were used as a strategic stopping point for pirates who were seeking resources and safe harbor. It is even said that famed pirate Sir Francis Drake used the well-secluded Magens Bay as an anchorage for his boats and as a lookout for potential threats. But the human history connected to Magens Bay dates far older than the time of colonial exploration. In fact, during an archaeological dig, archaeologists found several indigenous communities had settled in Magens Bay beginning as far back as 650 AD. During the dig, artifacts such as pottery and other ceramics were found. It was concluded that various indigenous populations had found Magens Bay to be sacred land.
This edition of Hot Ones Caribbean is brought to you by First Bank, Captain Morgan, and the USVI Economic Development Authority.
We are on to the final sauce. This one is also appropriately named. It's called Hellfire. And the bottle literally says doomed because that's what you feel like when you have it. This particular sauce has 6.6 million Scoville units of heat packed into this bottle. And in true Hot Ones tradition, I'm challenging you, Senator, to dab some extra pepper sauce on this wing.
Let's say. Well, if we're going all in, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. We're going all in.
You've done good so far, man. Okay. Food falling out my mouth. That's what my grandmother used to do to me. The milk helps.
Okay, let's do the milk.
The milk to help, I promise. Okay, so I can read the question while you're processing. The school chair and them say that in 2026, it gonna have a certain seat in government house opening up. Do you have aspirations of filling that opening? It hear me asking, is the school chair and them that want no?
Well, I'm so glad that you give me this one last. Because I gonna eat my Johnny cake.
Eat your Johnny cake and mind your business? Is the chair and I'm asking?
What is the question?
The school chair and I want to know, it got a certain seat opening up in government house in 2026. And they want to know if you have aspirations of taking on that seat.
Whew. Whew.
This one around.
This is what I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you that this one rough.
This one rough.
I set me up for the open joke on this one.
I feel like we in a rough waters right now. The room's spinning.
Ooh. My eyes are running. My mouth is on fire. But I'll say this. I'll say that there is a seat opening up in 2026.
Okay.
And there's lots of eyes on that seat. And I'm one that I listen to God. I listen to God's voice. So I don't make decisions based on I think I could do it. I make decisions based on, is this right? Am I the right person for the people of the Virgin Islands in 2026? And you have to pray about these things. And you have to walk in a faithful way as you make those types of decisions. You see, I try and be politically correct.
I would just have
Well,
said
my
this
mouth
is the
burning
most
me.
diplomatic answer
Well, my
that I
mouth
ever
burning
heard.
me.
Okay.
I'm not going to rule it out.
Okay.
I'm not going to rule it out because I will say that I have prepared myself to serve as a leader in this government. I have spent 30-something years in government doing executive level work. I've served as Commissioner of Education. I've served as, let me just reverse. The pepper have me a little moving things out of order. But I've served as Director of Operations at the Department of Justice. I've served as deputy commissioner of education, moving right up the ladder to assistant commissioner, then eventually becoming commissioner. Then I moved to serve as this chief financial officer of the Virgin Islands Port Authority. So I have a good understanding of the inner workings of the government of the Virgin Islands. And whomever, anyone that steps up to serve for governor of the Virgin Islands need to really care about the people. And also need to be very honest with the people about the challenges that we face. And be very honest about, don't sell the people of the Virgin Islands that we gonna fix all these pepper at the same time. We can't.
Oh, I like how you're using a pepper.
Yes, we sell to the people that we want to know what are those issues that matter to you most, and how do we begin to work on them together as Virgin Islanders. But you have to be a strong leader, and I consider myself to be a strong leader. I'm a woman. I don't pull the woman card. I think that you lead based on your ability to lead. My nose running.
I was just saying, like, you're taking this one like a champ.
Yes.
Because you had the wing properly full
Yes.
up.
It had to. But you lead based on your ability to lead. So, there's a lot of discussions about it's time for a woman leader in the territory. But it's time for a woman leader that is ready to serve and is ready to step up and truly serve. So all the agendas, so it can't be about give it to a woman. It has to be about give it to a woman that's ready to serve the people of the Virgin Islands. Give it to a woman that's going to bring it home and bring the bacon every time. Give it to a woman that's going to practice inclusion for the people. So I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm listening and waiting for the voice of God.
I hear you. Okay. The voice might be coming sooner than you think. Okay, Senator, you brought the energy as usual. This was a fabulous conversation, very enlightening. Thank you for coming to the show. And because you were able to make it through all 10 sauces, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds of uninterrupted camera time to tell the people what they should be expecting from you coming forward.
Well, you expect from me what you always get. Hard work, digging in my heels, and just being deliberate about being focused on what matters to the people. And as I look at the landscape of the Virgin Islands, we've done a lot of good work over the years, but there's always more work to do. You know how I look at work? I look at work like this. So when you clean your house, and that's something that we really need to understand as a people. If you dust your dressing table today or this morning, when you go back this afternoon, there's going to be dust. So you always have to be up to the task to do the work and get the work done. And that's why I'm a hot ones.
Yeah. So, Senator, thank you so much. It was completely enriching that you were here. This was another episode of Hot Ones Caribbean Edition. I am your hostess, Gabrielle Carrard, hailing from the United States Virgin Islands, where the sauce might be hot, but a woman them definitely hotter. See you guys again.
All right. Ooh, my mouth on fire, Mister.
You handle that
I
thing like
hold
a
it
champ.
down. My mouth on fire.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to hit that bell to get notifications for more things tempo.